All right, so it's like 24 hours since my last update. It's Monday, a little after 6 p.m. here at WBC Day 3. Lots to catch up on, but first off, the heat that I just got out of, the Wingspan heat number 2. I need to update on heat number 1 also, but heat number 2 just happened and is fresh in my mind. I drew a table right after, so seat 4 in a 4-player game, right after my hometown gaming group friend Jack Munson, who's very good, and I've been helping him improve with some of the advanced strategy in the last couple months. So right behind a person I've been helping, they're going to know what I'm doing. They're going to take many of the same moves I would. Pretty unfortunate. On top of that, player 1, I would find out later in the game, is also a very good player. So for a more casual game like Wingspan, you would expect an event where around where 100 plus people are showing up to get an easier table than that by a good bit. And so on top of the seating issues and the table strength, I also opened one of the very bad hands in Wingspan with not many good choices. I decided to keep a Pygmy Nuthatch and 2 cards to tuck, which is very bad. I rate Pygmy Nuthatch very low, so to take that kind of action is very sad. Then later in the opening, I had to play Clark's Nutcracker and an American Oyster Catcher, which I also rate very poorly. So I think each of those cards I've probably maybe played 2 to 3 times max now out of my Wingspan experience nearing 500 games, to give you an idea of how bad those are. Even with those struggles, I still managed to put up 86 points, which I think is an indicator that I played my terrible hand very well. I can't really regret scoring 86 with the hand I was dealt. Unfortunately, Jack in front of me scored 93, and player 1 had the absolute best possible starting hand. Little detail that is slightly better, but basically the best, and scored 114. Morning Dove would duck in the forest to open in Wingspan when you ban the Power 4 cards. So that was unfortunate, and that's just how Wingspan Heat 2 ended, so that's a 3rd place. Okay, so then let me talk about Wingspan Heat 1 from yesterday. Wingspan Heat 1 was my last event of Sunday night. Got matched up at a very entertaining, well, I don't know, but entertaining, but like, it was a really fun group to play with. I had to help the player on my right with rules clarifications a bunch of times, which slowed us down a little, and I think she was struggling a bit, not being able to do the moves she wanted to because she misunderstood the rules, but that was a little unfortunate. I didn't have a great game. I think I played all right, didn't have great cards, and I managed to win by 3, 86 to 83. That means I've scored 86 in both my Wingspan games so far. Interesting. My really bad Wingspan games, for context, are around 70. My really good ones are around 110, but it's really hard to get above like 95 unless you have really great cards. So then that was Wingspan Heat 1, so I now have a 1st and a 3rd. Pretty sure I'm going to need a 1st to have a chance at making the top 16 semifinal, given there are 150 plus players in the event probably. Then the other event I did last night, right after my most recent update, was St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, I got seated by, you're going to hear me really getting some bad luck in the seating here. St. Petersburg, I got seated behind Ray Wolf, who has won the event 2 times. The entire St. Petersburg event 2 times. I mean, I've won it once, so I'm obviously no slouch. I did get lucky in those. I think Ray probably will admit to getting lucky in his wins, but you have to be good and lucky. So I was behind Ray. I think I played my position quite well, but Ray had the ideal starting position with Nobles 1st and Workers 2nd, I think, which is very good. Not perfect, but like pretty good. Better than 1 out of 4, I would say. And Ray beat me by 2 points, 72 to 70. Another player got 70, but I had tiebreaker over them, so I did get 2nd place in that St. Petersburg heat. I did manage to go big blue pretty effectively in that one. Wait. Now, nope. I'm thinking of today's St. Petersburg heat now. I think it might be a little too late to try to remember what I did in that first St. Petersburg heat. I didn't make time to shoot a little video here late last night. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to deal with the lack of memory, and I lost to Ray Wolf by 2. Playing well, but not well enough to counteract the bit of extra luck Ray got. Staying on the topic of St. Petersburg, Heat 2 was also earlier today. I had a terrible seat draw. First on workers, fourth on nobles, which is the worst possible combo. I think that's the worst out of 24 if you consider where you're first and where you're last. So we had that. Also, there were some super shenanigans happening in round 1. I was 4th seed in nobles, the noble round being the most pivotal in many St. Petersburg games. The first nobles player ended up opening a slot for me after I decided that I would be fine not getting a noble, but not a second slot for himself. So starting the noble phase, there were 4 open slots, and I didn't have to do any of the work to open up that 4th one to give myself a noble. That alone was weird. Then the nobles flipped. The first 2 were the 2 cheaper ones, the author and the administrator. The 3rd noble that flipped was a judge. And then the 4th noble that didn't need to come out, but did, is the mistress, the big busted mistress. And then what did seat 1 do? Seat 1 took the administrator, one of the weak ones, leaving mistress in the first round to the player across from me. They took the mistress. Player to my right took the judge. And I got stuck with the worst one, the author, because life is fair, and so is St. Petersburg. Still managed to make a 2nd place out of that game, out of 4, thankfully. The 2 other players besides me and the guy who got the mistress across from me were both relatively inexperienced or didn't play seriously, trying to win in that context. So, you know, 2 seconds in St. Petersburg now. Still pretty good chance to make the semifinal if I win Heat 3. And I feel good about my play in St. Petersburg, so all I need to do is escape a bad table draw, escape a bad order of what actions I'm taking 1st and 4th and such. So fingers crossed for that. Okay, what else happened besides those 2 St. Petersburg and Wingspan games? Played a Carcassonne Heat. Had my worst Carcassonne game in a long time. I should have gotten tempo for a certain large farmland piece. I decided not to. The other people rushed in. A couple other players got some good draws and managed to complete a big city of theirs. And I scored a big 32. 32 is not a good Carcassonne score. It is one of my worst all time. So that's not a good first step in trying to defend my 3rd place from the last time I came to WBC, but so it goes. What else have I done? Today started with St. Petersburg, did the Carcassonne, did the Wingspan. Okay, and now I'm on break right before Arc Nova starts in about half an hour, so I'm gonna go play that and hope that my string of real bad seeding draws ends soon, because I'm having fun and I'm playing reasonably well and everything, and luck's just not on my side right now. I've definitely gotten lucky at some points this con, and sometimes I feel like I've gotten the short end of the straw more often. So if that turns around, I can pull together some really great results, I think. I think my gaming skill and my mindset is doing really well. I've got like the confidence of like knowing I'm a really great player in a lot of these games. So yeah, and it's Seven Springs, like we're in the Pennsylvania mountains. It's a good time. Seeing a lot of friends. All right, see you for the next update. Oh yeah, and now I realized I should probably be doing this horizontal. All right, bye. All right, it's the end of day 4, Tuesday at WBC. Today's a fully open gaming day for me, no scheduled events. There's the auction, which is part of WBC history that goes all day basically, and they don't allow events to start, which is kind of lame, until the night. and none of those were for me. So instead I got to play 4 games of Agricola, which were awesome, and a game of Ark Nova with Lisa. And yeah, I had 3 really great Agricola games that I did very well in, had some really fun combos. No, some really great combos in all of them that I don't think I've played before, and definitely none of them in at least a year and a half or 2 years, because they're not with the revised cards. Yeah, so those were a heavy animal game. I tied Sid, who had a huge mansion, but I had a super pretty workaholic pasteurization expert farm in game 1. My second game, I found the Countryman Baker's Daughter combo, 2 really bad cards that went great together. Then the third Agricola game, I stunk up. I did a couple of really bad sequences that killed my game. Came in 3rd in that one to my close friends, and then 4th game pulled off a really great major improvement based game with Sculptor's Son featuring in a draft with 6 communal bonus cards. So we were fighting over 6 community bonuses, which is really a lot for Agricola. But it made it fun and crazy, and I managed to score 63, which is really cool. So those were the Agricola games, and then last night, after my previous update, was the second Ark Nova heat, and I crushed my table. Played a really great game on Ice Cream Parlors, had a really great opening with the Scarlet Macaw on the leftmost reputation spot on Ice Cream Parlors. The Macaw played me a pavilion, and then a kiosk on the kiosk space, which let me build a kiosk on the sponsor space, which let me build cable car for $6, and just like race across the Ice Cream Parlors map super fast, and just had really great draws all game. My opening hand, I tossed a white rhino to keep the cable car, the Macaw, expert on America, and the bald eagle, which I used to just have a huge last turn. So I ended up scoring 144, and my closest opponent was 98, so huge difference there, and very happy with that. Unfortunately, Ark Nova is not going to have a quarterfinal because they didn't draw 128 players unique. They only drew 119 unique players across the 2 heats. So they're not going to have a quarterfinal, which means my absent in Heat 1 plus 1 win is not going to be good enough to advance. So no playoffs for Ark Nova, but can affirm that all my practice and play has made me quite a good player recently. So maybe not top of the pack, but pretty good. So that's the recap from end of Monday and Tuesday, and have more tomorrow.